Why is it that when you are going to start voting, you open the box and show that it is empty?
Hello there, welcome to Let's Talk Ghana here on Studios 2 TV. I need to say welcome back to myself, but we're back in Ghana now and we're bringing you yet another exciting edition of the show where we seek to put Ghana first in all of our conversations. On today's edition of the show, we're big on the limited voter registration currently ongoing. It started yesterday, expected to end on October 2, 2023. A big conversation, one that has become the subject of court processes and the likes, but it is going ahead nonetheless. The largest opposition party has been holding a news conference in relation to this. We'll let you in on those details as we're live there here from Studios 2 Television. Stay with us. When we return shortly, we get into the news conference by the largest opposition party, the National Democratic Congress. This is Let's Talk Ghana. Right, you're welcome back. This is Let's Talk Ghana here on Studios 2 Television. I am Eric Mawina-Egbeta. This show airs every Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. But in the last few weeks, because of the Africa Climate Summit, there was a little tweak to the days to which we bring you the show. That's past and gone, and we're back to a lot more consistency going forward. And so, what's on the plate today? Well, as you know it, the limited voter registration has kick-started. It is an exercise which is undertaken by the Electoral Commission to afford persons who turned 18 or are not on the country's electoral roll the opportunity to register and be on the electoral roll for the next general elections or for the next district level elections or a referendum. And the district level elections is the next thing on the elections calendar for the country's Electoral Commission. And there's been a lot of debate really about the mode to which this exercise will be conducted. The EC has resorted to its 264 district assemblies across the country, a little over really, as the registration centers for the exercise. But that's been heavily challenged by the smaller parties and the opposition NDC, who have all filed an injunction at not any court, but at the Supreme Court, seeking to stop the entire process. What has become of it? And why are we seeing the EC continue with the injunction application filed? Well, the largest opposition party in the face of all of this yesterday addressed a news conference seeking to bring home all of these matters. We here at Studios 2 Television were there. Here's what our cameras captured.
Press conference that the National Democratic Congress has decided to embark based
by now. The NDC, CPP, APC, LPG, and GCPP last week they filed a suit against the Electoral Commission of Ghana in the Supreme Court over the Commission's unlawful and unreasonable decision to restrict centers for the limited voter registration exercise to their district offices. The PNC has subsequently thrown their weight behind the suit with the hope of joining same in the Supreme Court subsequently. The suit was filed simply because the Electoral Commission's decision to restrict the centers of voter registration to their 268 district offices has the potential to deprive many eligible voters of their right to be registered as voters and to vote in public elections. Pending the final determination of the substantive matter, the parties have duly filed an application for interlocutory injunction in the Supreme Court to restrain the EC from proceeding with the announced limited voter registration exercise, which, as you are well aware, commenced today, Tuesday, 12 September 2023. Even though registration has commenced, this suit at the Supreme Court is only the first of a series of actions that we intend to take to compel the Electoral Commission to conduct limited voter registration at the electoral area level to give all eligible voters access to the process in line with the letter and spirit of Article 42 and 45 of the 1992 Constitution. Provisions 2, 1, sub 2 of CI 191 and EC's own time-tested practices. The basis of this suit are that Article 42 of the 1992 Constitution provides that every citizen of Ghana 18 years and above and of sound mind is entitled to be registered as a voter and to vote in public elections and referenda. We firmly believe the EC's decision to restrict registration centers to their district offices will deprive many eligible Ghanaians of their right to be registered as voters and lead to voter suppression. Also, whereas Article 45E of the 1992 Constitution mandatorily enjoins the EC to undertake programs to expand the registration of voters, the EC's decision to restrict registration centers to the district offices will reduce access to voter registration, hence contravenes Article 45A of this Constitution. In other words, the Constitution enjoins the Electoral Commission to undertake exercises that will expand voter registration to cover as many eligible voters as possible. So if the Electoral Commission decides consciously to organize voter registration in a way and manner that will restrict voter registration or restrict access, then it means that they are acting directly in contravention of Article 45E of the 1992 Constitution. Again, the EC's decision to restrict registration centers to their district offices violates Regulation 2, Sub 2B of CI 91, amended by CI 126, the law that governs centers for voter registration. Regulation 2, paragraph 2B of CI 91 provides, and I beg to quote, in designating a place as a registration center, the Commission shall take into consideration A, the suitability of the place for use as a polling station on election day, and B, the accessibility of the place to prospective applicants for registration. Because registration centers are almost always or are intended to be voting centers. Even though the Electoral Commission has the right to determine or to designate where registration should take place, they should make sure that every registration center is suitable to be used as a voting center. And again, it's accessible as a voting center. We believe that the restriction of these registration exercises to their district offices are neither suitable nor accessible as registration centers. Given the fact that the district offices of the EC are not suitable for use as polling stations on election day, the decision by the EC to restrict voter registration to its district offices is not only unreasonable but unlawful. Also, given the long distances that many eligible voters will have to travel and the exorbitant fares they will have to pay to transport themselves to district offices of the EC under the excruciating hardship Ghanaians are presently confronted with, the decision is insensitive, unreasonable, unlawful, and unconscionable. Ladies and gentlemen, it is instructive to note that Regulation 30 of CI 91 enjoins the Electoral Commission to revise the voters' register annually and to do so at the electoral area level. Yet, the Mensah-led EC has violated the law in the last 2 years by not conducting any limited registration in 2021 and 2022. This has created a huge backlog of about 2.8 million eligible persons, including unemployed youth who are entitled to be registered. This huge backlog is the more reason why the Electoral Commission's decision to restrict voter registration to their district offices is unconscionable and preposterous. In 2019, the EC conducted limited voter registration in 1,500 electoral area centers. Why will the EC reduce this number of registration centers to 268 now that they have a huge backlog of about 2.8 million persons to register? It simply does not make sense. This unreasonable, this irresponsible and unconscionable decision of the Commission confirms the NDC's long-held view that the Mensah-led Electoral Commission is determined to rig election 2024 through voter suppression. We fail because we are ready for them. Aside its potential to suppress registration and voting, the EC's decision to restrict voter registration to its district offices can promote and facilitate gerrymandering, as agents of political parties will find it difficult to challenge persons who may be barred from one constituency to register to another to register. Ladies and gentlemen, in addition to the NDC, there are 4 other political parties who are plaintiffs in the instant case at the Supreme Court. And as already indicated, the PNC has also thrown its weight behind the suit. In fact, CODIO, Care Ghana, and other stakeholders in our electoral space have all criticized this unreasonable decision of the Electoral Commission. Apart from the ruling and corrupt NPP party, no other political party or stakeholder has supported this decision by the Electoral Commission. This clearly shows that the Electoral Commission is the problem and not the NDC. And we know the only reason why the NPP is supporting this unreasonable and unlawful decision is because they are the masterminds and sole beneficiaries of sale. In an unusual twist, when our lawyers filed the injunction application last week Thursday, we were informed by the registrar of the Supreme Court that the due date for the application for interlocutory injunction to be moved will be given on Monday, upon the express instructions of the Chief Justice of our dear Republic of Ghana. The decision by the Registry of the Supreme Court to defer giving a hearing date for the injunction application on ground that the Chief Justice is currently out of Accra leaves much to be desired, and as the CJ should have delegated same to act in her absence, as the practice is. The administration of justice in our apex court cannot come at a standstill simply because the Chief Justice is indisposed or unavailable to give hearing dates. What happened to the e-justice system the John Mahama-led NDC administration toiled for? This deliberate delay should not happen in any civilized country, and this is completely unacceptable. Ladies and gentlemen, when people complain about the administration of justice, the president has the guts to complain about the people who are complaining. Can't you see what is happening? That this same judiciary can find time to grant injunctions against people who intend to demonstrate against corruption at the Supreme at the Bank of Ghana with alacrity. And yet, that same judicial system cannot find time and space to grant such an important injunction against an exercise which is wrongly being conducted and which has the potential to throw this country into a turmoil. What type of justice are we experiencing in this country? Those who don't want us to complain about the bad justice system have a responsibility to correct what is wrong. We are only writing the testimonial. If a student conducts himself in a way, that student has already lived the testimonial. So the head teacher does no wrong when that testimonial is converted onto paper. So those who don't want us to complain about the wrong system must fix that wrong system first. And it is their responsibility. This is yet another clear evidence of judicial manipulation, and we condemn it in no uncertain terms. We are aware that the EC has also been served with 2 applications for injunction from courts of competent jurisdiction, specifically the High Court. Yet the learned Mensah-led EC has decided to flout these injunction applications by going ahead with the registration exercise in flagrant disregard to the letter and spirit of the rule of law. Well, in this country, since the Electoral Commission started operating from 1992, they have restrained themselves from proceeding with any exercise the moment they receive an application for injunction against that exercise. Any institution has a way. There are 2 positions to take when there is an application for injunction. One position is that it is a mere application, so unless it is granted, it is not binding. That's one position. The other position, which Electoral Commission itself has adopted over 30 years now, is that when they receive a process, it is noticed that something is going to happen. So they stop whatever they are doing. And this is the first time the Electoral Commission is changing this position. Indeed, just last May, when we were doing our primaries, there were 2 applications to injunct our process. The first one was filed by Dr. Bifo. And when we worked around the clock to get that application vacated, immediately after the vacation, the Electoral Commission told us, getting to 4 p.m., told us that there's another application we have received. So because of that, we are unable to conduct the exercise. And we had to work within 1 hour to get that matter resolved. The Electoral Commission could proceed to conduct our elections. What has changed? What has changed? Today, 5 political parties have said the Electoral Commission will be illegal. And they ignore it and proceed to do the exercise. And we're still, the Chief Justice gives instruction that in her absence, nobody can fix the date for the hearing of the Supreme Court matter. Know very well that she will be absent. So what are we witnessing in this? We are calling on the intervention-happy ECOWAS countries that they better act to stop civilian coup d'etats from happening. They shouldn't close their eyes on this flagrant disregard of the principles of democracy and rule of law, only to jump in when somebody overthrows that system. They now jump in, they say they are going to restore democracy. What type of democracy are you restoring in the first place? So we are signaling the peers of Nanado that this is the time they should talk some sense into the heads of their colleagues. They shouldn't wait till things go bad before they jump up and want to restore what is already bad for us. We all have a responsibility to correct things before they go bad. And as I have always said, democracy can tolerate bad governance so long as the means of changing that bad governance is not tampered with. If you have a wrong leader, we all tolerate, with the hope that maximum 4 years, we will have the right to change that leader and better our circumstances. It is worse when you act to block the means of peaceful change. It is then and only then that you invite violent changes. We don't want violent changes. So we want everybody to come on board and help us to ensure that the means of peaceful change is not blocked. We are addressing the nation the way we are doing today. We wish to emphasize that the EC's decision to proceed with the limited voter registration exercise today, despite being served with 2 injunction applications from the courts, contradicts an important precedent set by they themselves during the 2023 NDC presidential and parliamentary primaries, when they publicly announced the suspension of their supervision of our primaries on grounds of a suit and injunction application filed by Dr. Pablo for what has changed. Why this inconsistency? Ladies and gentlemen, notwithstanding these pending legal matters, the NDC is fully ready for the registration exercise, which was illegally commenced by the EC today. We are ready, very ready. but we care for the poor registrants who must cater for the cost and constraints of being registered to vote. We currently have our agents and officers in all 268 district offices of the Electoral Commission countrywide. We are keenly and actively monitoring the process and will ensure that the manipulations of the Electoral Commission and the ruling MPP calculated to suppress votes and rig the process are defeated and defeated soundly. NDC shall always stand and fight for the masses. We therefore wish to call on all NDC officials at all levels, members, sympathizers, and Ghanaians as a whole to encourage and fund and assist all eligible persons or prospective registrants to defy the EC and participate in the ongoing registration exercise. Your vote is your power. Don't allow the Mensah-led EC to rob you of it, no matter what. Relatedly, we have outlined some discrepancies in the registration process which commenced this morning. And we wish to share a few with you in order to jolt the EC into action. We expect the Electoral Commission to act swiftly in order to avoid any further loss of confidence in the Commission. And these are a few of them. Just this morning, over 90% of centers were not able to print out the required start of the day printout across the country before you undertake any exercise. To check that names have not already been preloaded on the machines, you print start of the day printout and give copies to all the political parties for us to assure ourselves that there are no pre-registered names in the machine. In 90% of the registration centers, this was not done. So the process is already endangered. We have no capacity to verify whether some names were pre-registered before the start of the exercise. I mean, everybody knows that even before we start voting, we empty the ballot box and show it to everybody that it is empty. So that is why the processes have been designed in such a way that before any machine will start registration at any center, you do a printout to show that we are starting from point zero. In 90% of the stations across the country, no such printout was given out to political parties. Now, most centers across the country started after 8:30. When I believe the advertised time was 7. For instance, just a sample of some of the district centers and the time they started. In Savannah, Bole started at 9:30 a.m. Greater Accra, Ododo here, not far away from the EC headquarters. They started at 10 a.m. The same Greater Accra, Okankwe South, 10:31 a.m. Ablekuma West, 10:40 a.m. And as at the compilation of this report, the Akoye has not started at all. In Hoboy, 9:10 a.m. In Sablugu in the northern region, Sanlegu in the northern region, midday. And even after the start, after some time, they were able to register only 2 persons as we are here, they are now working to replace the system in Asiedu. And the parliamentary candidate is sitting here right with us.
We share the same district.
And then, yeah, and Tamale North too. They haven't started. 2 names for the whole day. Tamale North, 1210. Savannah, Daboya, 9. Damongo, 9. And as I was walking into this office, the same report was coming from Tamale South and Tamale Central. For the whole day, 2 names have been registered. What is happening to our democracy and fairness in this country? We have an issue of network challenge too. About 70% of the centers running online are slow, hence delaying the process. Some of the areas where slow network have been the main problem: Ningu Pram, Yellow Krobo, Lower Banya Krobo Eastern region, Asujamai. All these happens to be the strongholds of the NDC. How come that our network system in the country is so politically selective? Say that it can decide to be fast in other areas and be slow in others. Then there are a lot of system malfunction throughout the country. Registration at some centers is not going on as admitted due to challenges with machines and network. Bono East, Techimai North, the system is not able to print any card at all. Again, our area. Western region, Mpoho, not able to capture data. The system is not able to capture data at all. Ahafo, Tano North, the system is not able to print cards. Trobo, there is a complete system breakdown. Abrekuma West, system breakdown. Central, Agura Asiedu, machine breakdown. In Upper West, Labusier, machine breakdown. Western, Tadi, not able to print the cards. Ashamai, machine breakdown. Biakoye, webcam camera not functioning. Esikado, machine breakdown. Sanelwood, network system breakdown. Suhu, machine breakdown. Bolga East, system login and webcam not functioning. Tamale North, network and machine breakdown. Lower Manyan Krobo, network breakdown. Tamale South, machine breakdown. Tamale Central, machine breakdown. Elembele, machine not network. Machine and network breakdown. Timpani, yet to the breakdowns are politically selective. There is not more than 2 centers where these breakdowns are happening, which are in the stronghold of MPP. All the rest are in the stronghold of NDC. So, when we are complaining, this is the evidence. It's like His Excellency, when he was complaining about politicizing of of politicization within the Bar Association and the others chose to campaign at the Bar Association conference for people to vote for his party and not any other person. You see? So the evidence that people are looking for to support the claim that you are politicizing the legal system, you yourself in your speech have provided that evidence. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is why we called you, to let you know that all our suspicions about the electoral system being manipulated to take away the right of Ghanaians to choose their own leaders is happening. And it is up to all of us citizens of this country to stop that from happening, because stopping the electoral system malfunctioning is easier than living under a disruption that is possible if the system of peaceful change is flawed. I thank you very much, and may God bless you. Yebisa, you say, then you may have fun, and you may not have what you may have fun. You will find me one, you fast and solve problems like this. I will do this. But I say, Ubefa Mirapanso na court wa sheni pana oye ade a enye no court be sheni pana oye ade na enye no no be ba be ye ade pa enu ti ne ani abere court so se court wantimi anya na court no na adi democracy no na mo ani Ghana fo na mo enu ye peaceful means also. Say no block what? Yeah, any other means. I never saw. Now, I say, Nipa or no susu say, Utiatia, Nifa, Undi, so no. Or no so very reactive. Now, yet to make predictive finer amount for 30 million Ghanaians here. Utia Binum found Undi, so no. Yet to make predictive the way they will react. It's in a near place. Yet, I've been moved to that. Now, Yamaya, no opening, we are fine and democracy, we are fast to solve this problem. Anymore, the intimacy of what, let us say, you block all the other means here. We will be able to use. But just what I say, there are two ways: peaceful, legal means of solving the problem, or leaving the citizens who feel disenfranchised to fight their battles in their own ways and in their own designs. The one who is asking about the options for centers, it's already in the law. Okay? The law provides that registration centers will ordinarily be places where the people who are registered will eventually go to cast their ballots. So if we want to stretch the argument, it means that if we have 38,000 or 40,000 polling stations, there must be 40,000 registration centers. Okay? But through this consensual means, we are able to distinguish between wholesale registration and limited registration. In wholesale registration, you are registering all the about 18 or 19 million eligible voters. So we always choose polling stations for the registration. But where you are just capturing those who have come of age, since the last registration and adding their names to the existing register. The numbers are not big. So we roll back to electoral areas. So we have a certain number of electoral areas. So walking from your polling station to an electoral area is not a long distance. That is the practice we have established over the years. It is only this Mensah administration and the electoral commission that is trying to do this. And even they, when the previous registration they did was covering those who have come of age over a period of 1 year, which came up to about 1.2 million thereabout. They found it necessary to open 1,500 centers. So today, that you know that because you have not conducted limited registration over the past 3 years, you have a backlog of 3 years, which will put us beyond 3 million. And in all your common sense, you decide that the more the people to be registered, the less the number of registrations. I don't know what type of mass it is. More or less. I don't know what type of mass it is. So that is our problem. So the center, number of centers, everything has been mapped out. And when you use centers that have been designated by them, if you say polling station, everybody knows that polling stations are predetermined. If you say electoral areas, everybody knows that electoral areas are predetermined. And the Electoral Commission is bound to gazette the places where the registration will take place. Then, if you say polling station, everybody knows that polling stations are predetermined. If you say electoral areas, everybody knows that electoral areas are predetermined. And the Electoral Commission is bound to gazette the places where the registration will take place, so that they notify all prospective registrants that these are the places. So if today the Electoral Commission chooses that because the specialist may have some 1,000 more stations, and it's haphazardly distributed, it's not gazetted for people to know, it is even more dangerous than the one that is happening. And that is how the Electoral Commission, under this administration, have been approaching their work. My friend from Republic Press, what does the law say about what? The other parties? What does the law say about the printout? I've told you the position of the law and the practice. We have the Constitution, and then you have the CI, and then you have the rules that the Electoral Commission has established, and based upon which training of election officials are done. So, and apart from all this, you add your number 6. You know number 6? Common sense. You see, why is it that when you are going to start voting, you open the box and show that it is empty before you start? To get the confidence of everybody that there are no printed papers inside. So if you are saying that print the blank sheet and let's know that there was no name that has been registered last night. So we are all starting from ground zero. Why do you need a piece of legislation from Parliament to be able to do that? And you are asking me why other parties are not there. I beg to say that the question is for the other parties. I don't represent other parties, I represent NDC. So they are better. It's like a teacher asking you in classroom, people who are present, then they are punishing you because some of you are absent. Those who are absent, they are not there to receive the punishment, but the few number of people, you are punishing them because their colleagues are absent. So we don't understand questions for other political parties. And you are asking what next? Nobody knows. We are now told that the bailiff is on the way to serve the electoral commission. Let's see what will happen. Whether they will continue or they will step back for us to correct those things before we will all know what will happen. But I am saying that I cannot predict what next. We are acting on behalf of the people who could resort to their own needs. If they have reason to believe that somebody is helping them to address the same problem, they will not think about finding their own means to seek justice. But if they don't know that anybody is acting to solve their problem, and it's a power tap somewhere, they will decide on the means to make sure that it's registered, or a drug pusher or anybody. They will decide what they will do. It is not in our mind. The purpose of the press conference is to, they don't know that anybody is acting to solve their problem. And it's a power tap somewhere. They will decide on the means to make sure that it's registered, or a drug pusher or anybody. They will decide what they will do. It is not in our mind. The purpose of the press conference is to tell Kenyans that these wrong things are happening and they need to be corrected. And those who, like me, have investment in maintaining our democracy, we must act to protect the democracy. That is why we are doing this press conference. So when the process is set, we will find out whether the Supreme Court will wait till after the exercise before they go to call the case, or the Electoral Commission will wait and then see how the matters are resolved before the registration is made. That is an unknown area which I cannot predict. Thank you very much.
And so that's the chair of the NDC, Johnson Asiedu Nketia, in that press conference. We were there, brought you exclusive details of it. You heard him and the comments that he's had to make. We'll look ahead, as he said, to what happens, whether or not the EC respects the court and decides to halt the process. It is something that we're going to be looking out for. But across the country, there were challenges as witnessed and quoted quite copiously by the chair of the NDC. We're going to wrap up on today's edition of the show, but just to mention that there's been quite a number of developments on the front of the country. The IGP was present as well yesterday at the ad hoc committee hearing, where he, amongst many things, described the allegations against him by some police officers in that leaked audio to have him removed as shameful. We'll seek to bring all of that and more to you subsequently, but that's what's been happening. And this is still Let's Talk Ghana here on Studios 2 Television. We're back again on Friday with another exciting edition of the show. Stay with us.
Studios 2 TV. The truth is here, in your eyes.